Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Flex and Reflect Sunday Sit Down. If this is the first time you are listening, welcome aboard. Every Sunday, I sit down and answer the questions of the week that was, the questions either from clients or that have been sent in and so forth. So try and keep it around 15, 20 minutes. I always have more questions than I can answer. So let's see how we go today. Let me get that camera a little bit in a better position. All right, here we go. How can I avoid muscle imbalances if I have one dominant side? Well, it's pretty common. I mean, just about every person I've worked with has an imbalance on one side. Me, myself, I have an imbalance. Um, I had for many years, a knee issue. And so my left quad is bigger. My legs are my best feature. And the left quad is slightly smaller than the right. So one of the things that I have started to do over the probably the last 4 to 5 years now, and look, it's the same on my bicep is bigger on my right than it is on my left. It's just the way it is. I'm right-handed, right side dominant, so it tends to happen, right? So what I tend to do now is I do more unilateral exercises. So what that means is you're exercising one side then the other. So for instance, I did legs this morning. I warm up on double leg press, but then I go down to single leg press. And so I'm doing one leg's down. I use a 45-degree angle. One leg's down, one's up. Put the other one down, swap over. I do the same when I'm training my chest as well. I'll do one side with dumbbells, then I'll do the other side with dumbbells as well. You do the same with, um, with your bicep curls. For instance, I mentioned arms. Do one at a time, and what that enables you to do is really put your mind into the muscle, because what often happens is you find some right side dominant, say you're doing a bench press, it's kind of like the right's doing a lot of the work and the left, it just comes along for the right because this one's doing most of the work. So if you start doing unilateral exercises, that can really help. And just think about how you can do that with your entire body. It's really effective. Opt in for a consultation if you want some specific exercise or specific parts of your body, but that's a way that I find works really well. What role does gut health play in achieving optimal fitness, and how can I improve it? Yeah, gut health is one of those trendy topics that people talk about at the moment. But it's very important because think about it like this. If your gut health is not right, let's go with an example like you've got diarrhea all the time, you've got IBS, and that is having a irritable bowel syndrome I'm talking about, and that plays havoc with you, and so therefore you're constantly in a state of being inflamed. You're stressed. You're not recovering properly. Perhaps you're not sleeping as well. You're not digesting food the same way. You're probably not feeling like eating the same foods that are perhaps going to help you grow and become better. So it will absolutely have an impact on energy levels by virtue of your gut health not being right, to then the food that you eat, how well hydrated you are, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's really, really important. And personally, I've found that over the years, things can change for you, and foods that perhaps once were really, really fine with you, now maybe you have some challenges with. That is not unusual. Probably 5 years ago, I started experimenting with different types of even vegetables to see, okay, do some keep me more bloated than others? But you'd be surprised that most people live in a state of being bloated. And so how do you change that? Well, what you need to, you can only change one thing at a time, whether that's gluten, remove gluten, keep everything else the same, put gluten back in, change one more thing. Uh, Maybe it's lactose, take lactose out, see what that does, but the gluten back in. If it's not that, put that back in. Try a vegetable. So like I used to eat a lot of broccoli. I still eat broccoli, but I don't eat as much as I used to because it tend to make me a little bit bloated. So you've just got to be careful. I even experimented with carrots. You think, oh, how does the carrot make you bloated? Well, how would you know if you don't take it out? So did that just to work out, okay, these things are not working as well for me as I thought they were. Another one's rice. I don't eat a lot of rice now. I used to eat rice all the time. I tend to now even go for things like sweet potato, quinoa. I find that those things work better in my body now. So yeah, it's a super important. Good question. You got to experiment a little bit. I think we had this one last week. Can sleep quality impact muscle recovery and growth? Yeah, absolutely. Again, if you are not well rested, if you are uh, that inflammation is not getting out of your body during that deep sleep, then you get up the next day, you're still a little bit fatigued, you're not properly recovered, you can't be as energized, you can't be as strong, and eventually you're just coming down and down and down and down and down. So you reach a plateau and then you just peter off, and it's not growing. So it's super important. So have a refer to last week. I'm sure I answered that in more depth there. What's the best way to break through a weight loss plateau when everything else seems on track? Yeah, look, our bodies are tricky, and we may think, oh, everything is right, but maybe there's something else going on in our body. Our bodies are amazing things, right? So maybe there's you've got a bug and your body's hanging on to everything. Maybe you're retaining more fluid. Sometimes people will say weigh themselves on a say Sunday morning, but every Saturday they're having their say cheat meal, or they're having a saltier meal or something like that. So they're naturally more retentive, and then they weigh themselves the next day. It's going to take 24, 48 hours for that to get out of your system and get back to what is your normal sort of baseline. So I think that's one thing to consider. But also, sometimes we just need to shake things up a bit. Our bodies are very quick at learning what it is that we're doing. Like it's a pretty general question, so I'm always hesitant to recommend like general things because I don't have any details about what your history is, what your like health goals are, et cetera, to know, okay, should we cut the calories a little bit? Should we increase the type of training? Are you doing strength training? Is the strength training intense enough? Is it too intense? Are you training too frequently? There are, are you eating frequently? Or what I normally find with people is, let's just say that they have gone on. I just did another podcast, actually, just posted just before I hit record here, about yo-yo dieting. I find that a lot of yo-yo dieters will tend to do, say, something for anywhere between really 4, 6 to 12 weeks, and they might get some results, and that starts to slow down over time because they've introduced like an extreme amount of cardio. They've removed things like alcohol and some things completely from their eating. So the body's taken a hit and said, "Oh, what are you doing to me?" But then, of course, the body gets used to things and it can slow down. So we really need to understand exactly what are you doing? Is it healthy? And do we need to tweak the calories? And don't just think, okay, by getting lower and lower and lower, that helps. It doesn't always help. In fact, that can often be your worst enemy. And you're so low that we need to increase your calories to allow you to recover and get strong and, build that way. So I'd say opt in for a free consultation and we can go through that in more depth. Okay. All right. It kind of links to the question I just answered before. Are there specific foods that help combat inflation and speed up post-workout recovery? That to me, that's about understanding your body and the foods that work well for you. But generally speaking, what I do is both pre and post-workout. I have a little bit of like at the moment, I've got Staminade in. I have it in here actually, where I'm having it through the workout and post workout. I'll have like about that much in my shaker bottle, a scoop of protein powder, shake it up, drink it before and immediately after. I mean, as I'm walking out the gym type thing, I have it afterwards. And then I'm having a meal that's got like about 40 grams of protein in it for me, 2 cups at least of plant-based vegetables and some high energy food there, like for some sweet potato. The one I just had earlier was sweet potato. Um, so getting the balances of those things right, and that helps me feel really good. I'm getting them. Most people avoid the high energy carbs. You really want that to help boost your glycogen stores post workout. So super important to get that in. Most people don't. They might have a protein shake and that's it. I have a specific 3 hour sort of block of time where I want to get in a certain amount of nutrients. I only do this for really my higher performing clients because most people don't have the drive to keep an eye on the clock and making sure, yes, I've got to do pre-workout, post-workout, then I've got to eat, and then about an hour or so later, I've got to eat again. So yeah, the easiest way is you got to experiment a little bit with some of the foods, but you get also getting the mix of those ingredients right. Again, there's not enough information here in to know about you. So again, opt in for a free consultation. I'll give you the link at the end. Okay, how should I adjust my training routine if I'm feeling low energy or close to burnout? So again, that can come down to the food. It can come down to the sleep. Are you overtraining? Are you too stressed? Are you training at the wrong time of the day? Are you training for too long? Are you not recovering enough between workouts? Uh, it's a difficult question to answer, but I would just review all of those things. And if you like, review them all, email them to me and or again, consultation, and I will answer that in a little bit more detail. But basically, if you're in the words that you're using, feeling low energy or close to burnout, that says to me that probably you need to take some time out of training. Maybe it's a week off, no strength training, and just do some light cardio training to help your body recover a little bit more. I would be doing a critical analysis of how much cardio are you doing a week? How many strength sessions are you doing a week? How long are those sessions? What are you eating every single day? Are you eating 5 to 6 meals a day? Are you getting enough protein? Are you getting enough high energy food? What else are you doing? Is there alcohol? Is there other substances that are in there, either legal or illegal? Are there some medications involved in there as well? It's a hard question for me to answer just off the top, but all of those things combined add up to things that can dramatically impact you. Are you getting enough sleep? If you're training a lot and you're not getting at least 7 hours sleep, you're in strife. Go to bed earlier, get up earlier, tweak the time of day you're training. If you're doing an excessive amount of training, if you're doing more than 3 days a week, then maybe you need to cut back. What else are you doing in there? Stressful job, stressful life, other life issues getting in the way, relationships, money, stresses of work, kids, etc. All of those things, can really have a dramatic impact. Let me see if I can get through a couple more. What is the ideal ratio of cardio to strength training for balanced fitness? So this one, what I like to do and how I condition most of my clients, 3 strength sessions a week, 3. That's what I personally do as well. And cardio on the other days that you don't train. So in other words, 7 days in the week, every day you're doing something. You're either doing your cardio or you're doing your strength training. If you want to do a bit of cardio on that same day, then you can, but you need to be careful. So I get people when they're first starting out, think about strength training, think around half an hour, 45 minutes maybe for your strength training. Some people do for hours. It's too much. And then think about maybe 20 minutes of walking or some cardio that you absolutely love. I like walking outside. It's good for my mindset. I get to record podcasts. I just enjoy being in nature. I just find that that's really good. I aim for the 10,000 steps a day. So that might be a structured walk. I don't run. I want to, like, I'm 56, so I want to make sure that the impact on my joints is not, like slam, slam, slam. That's not going to be good for me. So I just walk and I aim to get 10,000 plus incidental steps in a day with a structured walk as well as incidentally. And that works really well for me. So the key is to find something that you can do forever. You've got to enjoy it. You've got to love it. And for me, the balance of 3 strength, 4 cardio is a good place to be. I'm going to go through one more question. Okay. How can I make sure I'm getting enough protein on a plant-based diet to support muscle gain? It's tricky, right? It's tricky. It's not impossible, but it is really tricky. So what you need to do is become a real expert in which plant-based foods are the highest yielding in terms of protein. Now, unfortunately, your meats are way higher in protein compared to your plant-based food, but you can still get protein from your plant-based food. So if you think about things like your, whether it be tofu, whether it be more like your kidney beans, black beans, things like that. They're higher in protein. You've got some other things like your like chia seeds and so a few other bits and pieces of plant-based food that can give you some higher protein. But it's hard because you're weighing up, how do I get the amount of protein to keep the calories lower? So like if you just ate black kidney beans, for instance, to get all the protein you want, then you find that it can really disproportionately to, say, animal-based products, boost the calorie profile. If you're eating like eggs, and egg whites are really great, but again, a lot of plant-based eaters don't eat eggs. So then what I would suggest is to help supplement what it is that you're doing to make it convenient as well and to help with the calories, is to go for a plant-based like protein powder. Whey protein comes from a byproduct of cow's milk. So if you don't want to do that, then go for a plant-based one, which will generally be made of rice and pea protein. And then the trick is to find one that dissolves well and also tastes really well. So buy the smallest tub you can, even see if you can get a sachet of one and try that, and see if you can find one that you like. And you don't want to rely on that as your sole purpose, but just like I don't rely on whey protein as my sole purpose of protein, it's a supplement with the other types of food. But I would honestly play around with AI and become an expert in the highest yielding amounts of plant-based food, and then work out the number of grams of protein that you need. Generally speaking, if you're serious about your weight training, just think in pounds. Just look it up how to convert it. It's 1 kilo equals 2.2 pounds. 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. That's a simple way of doing it. And then say, okay, how am I getting that in through the day? And then just play around with AI and say, okay, so how many calories should I be eating? How many grams of protein can I get from black beans or tofu and the various sources there? And that's a good place to start. So just start to learn where it comes from, because not every plant-based food is just like every other food. For like meat eaters and stuff, it's not all created equally, and the protein doesn't come in the same forms. So, in the same quantities. So I'm going to leave it there. Thanks everybody for your questions this week. If you want to opt in for the free consultation, you can go to studiospt.com.au, check the link below, or you can go to mentaltoughnessandbodyshow.com. That's my podcast page, and you can opt in for the same link. There's a link there for a consultation. Just reach out. I do this with everybody all around the world, so I'd love to connect with you. Send any questions, keep sending those in. You can do it through those same links, or just email me, or on social media. You'll find me using my name, Rob Evans, as spelt on the screen there, and I'd love to have a conversation with you. Take care, everybody. I'll see you soon.